So before the internet could give you pretty much the answer to any question that you could ever ask ever, you had to work a little bit harder to do your research. And if you were a fan of movies, the only way you'd find out all your film facts is by reading monthly magazines. And if you liked your films a little bit more fucked up than the average viewer, then there was only one publication that you'd go to, and it were called Fangoria. So Fangoria Issue One dropped in 1979, and at the time the only film magazine that was remotely horror was one called Famous Monsters of Filmland, and although it did cover horror, it was more like Universal monsters and Atomic Age monsters, stuff like that, and it were a lot more family friendly, kids would buy it and that kind of thing. And although Fangoria was a lot like that when it initially dropped, eventually it found its footing, and it was its horror stuff that really got everybody gassed about it.
Welcome to the world of terror. When I'm not busy embalming bodies, which isn't often, I like to relax with some good family reading. Let me introduce you to my personal library of Fangoria, the leader in horror entertainment.
And it were an instant hit, and like anything popular, it didn't take long for there to be loads of copycat magazines, lots of spin-offs, lots of sister publications and that kind of thing. And at the time, during the 80s and the 90s, newsagents couldn't sell enough for them. And horror fans were lapping them up. The covers on them were fucking gnarly. They proper stood out on the newsstand. The colours that they used were popping. The fonts were eye-catching. And all of a sudden you could read up on all these obscure movies that you'd only ever seen in cinemas or on VHS tapes. And characters like Jason and Freddy and Chucky and Pinhead, they became like rock stars. Not only that, but they also covered a ton of cult and obscure movies that you'd never read about in a normal film magazine. And we got introduced to the people behind the films, the artists and the filmmakers, people like George Romero, Tom Savini, John Carpenter, Dario Argento, Sam Raimi. These guys became just as famous as the people that were in the movies. Now you could find out about how the makeup was done and how the effects were made, stuff that we never knew before, and these magazines had whole sections dedicated to it. One of my favourite things in these magazines is the crazy adverts. There's loads for so many different crazy t-shirt companies. Check these screaming t-shirts with a Texas Chainsaw 2 t-shirt. Check this guy, look how cool he is in his t-shirt with his hat on. Horror masks, alien masks, gore masks. This one's got Freddy Krueger mask and jumper combo. This one's Freddy's Dead, the official released movie magazine, and it's got loads of cool stuff inside. This has also got a Freddy's mask and glove combo. Check this here, the Gore Store. More gore than before, and you can buy horror books, magazines, Terminator magazine, you can buy movie effects books. More Freddy stuff, Freddy's glove, posters. Find out how they did Freddy's makeup. Check this shit. Full Freddy poster inside. Fold out. What about this bad boy? Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. They saved the best for last. I'll let you be the judge of that. What's this one got inside? Oh shit, Belial basket case poster. Check this, this is the best of Fangoria issue 4. It's got Carrie on the front cover. Check this crazy madness that's inside. Shit like this had never been in magazines before. We've got a whole section dedicated to special effects artist Steve Johnson. He's a fucking dude. This guy did the effects for Fright Night and Ghostbusters. He's fucking awesome. Yo, this effect used to fucking freak me out when I was younger. Check that, from Spasms. This guy's face bubbling and cracking. Fucked, man. This is Go Zone. This was like a sister publication to Fangoria. It was put out as like whatever was too crazy for Fangoria, if you can believe that, went into Go Zone. And this is issue 1 with Texas Chainsaw 2 on the front cover by Tom Savini. Fucking awesome. So many of these magazines had fold-out posters in the middle. Lots of them have not been taken out of the magazines, thankfully. But there's some fucking dope shit in there. Check this here, the Linnea Quigley fan club, and that's still going to this day. Back in the 1980s, Linnea Quigley was like Scream Queen royalty, and so many of these magazines had interviews with her. And I always love to see stuff from Linnea Quigley because she's a personal friend of mine and of Slimehouse. She's a big fan of the show. We're big fans of hers. If you check this page, we've actually got an interview with her at HorrorCon UK. She's fucking awesome. Big up Linnea Quigley every time. Here you can hire a company who will come and do special effects for your movie. You just ring them up and sort it out. I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder how good they were and what they went on to do after this. This is a crazy one. It's called Slaughterhouse. This is issue 1. Again, it's got an interview with Scream Queen Linnea Quigley. And inside you've got this character called Meet the Cleaver, which is like the mascot of the magazine, and people send him letters and it's like really fucked up. So the first letter, some guy says that he don't think that he should be alive anymore, and Cleaver just says to him, yeah, it doesn't sound like you've got any reason to be alive. It sounds like that your life ended way before you wrote this letter. It's fucked. It laughs about dead babies, like shit that you would just never get away with nowadays. These magazines were doing it back then. They just did not give a fuck, a lot of these. Fangoria was still pretty classy. Stuff like Slaughterhouse were fucking gnarly. There's a wicked section on They Live. That movie was just about to drop at the time, so there's lots of stuff covering John Carpenter and the behind the scenes of making that movie. We've got behind the scenes of the alley fight. We've got them doing makeup on the aliens. And usually you won't ever see them aliens in black and white, so it's always fucking awesome to see them in colour. And anyone that watches this show and's followed the Mad Balls that I made and stuff like that, you'll know how much I love that movie They Live. Check this, there's an advert for the movie Slime City. Like, there wasn't magazines putting out adverts for Slime Shitty and that back then. Slaughterhouse was the guys to do shit like that. There's a wicked article on Trauma covering Toxic Avenger, who obviously, if you watch this show, you know that that's my guy. I love me some Toxic Avenger. Again, more Linnea Quigley shit in there. They couldn't get enough of Linnea Quigley back then. This is definitely one of my favourites, Toxic magazine. And as you can see on the cover, that's my guy there, Toxic. This is a fucking dope magazine. Check the intro to it. It says, the Toxic Code, Midnight Madness for Modern Mutants. We like guts, guts is good. We like entrails, an exposed spleen now and again. We like everything gross and we like monsters. Yes, we fucking do. It's got really cool artwork that almost looks like it would be in a graffiti artist's black book. Lots of markers and shit like that. Lots of brains and eyeballs and slime and popping green and purple colours. You know I love that green and purple shit. There's an old advert for Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors convention event. Fucking so cool, man. It's just full of all that gross out shit that we're all about here on Slimehouse TV. Check this, another full article on Trauma and Toxic Avenger. These were the magazines that were repping trauma and shit back then. The modern mainstream media wasn't repping my guy Toxie and pull out posters and shit like that. Fucking so good. Some fucking sick t-shirts on the back. Check this white long-sleeved Return of the Living Dead 2 t-shirt. So fucking sick, man. This one's from quite a bit later on, late 80s, covering Critters 2 and Jason Takes Manhattan. This is a nice Fangoria. Check that Return of the Living Dead 2 poster inside, pull-out poster in the covers, which is why a lot of these get fucked up, because people used to cut the poster off like that with a razor and blue tack it to the bedroom wall and shit. Check this here, look, free Rambo 3. Giant 22 by 32 inch fold-out fucking poster book. Fucking sick, man, I'd love that shit. Each book includes stories, bios of the stars, behind-the-scenes information, and colour photos. Just $2 postage. Sick, man. Oh, check this one. Beetlejuice on the Loose. A set visit explores the making of Tim Burton's bizarre ghost comedy, The Exorcist, This Ain't. So these guys actually got to go to the set of Beetlejuice, check out all the effects and the sets and that kind of stuff. Fucking awesome, man. Imagine being alive at that time. Like, this is the shit that makes me think that I was born in the wrong fucking era, man. That must have been so fucking awesome. Get to see all the sets and shit close up in real life and knowing that you saw that shit, and these are movies that are legendary now. So like I said, all these were spawned because of this one magazine, Fangoria Issue One. So this was put out originally by Starlog. Starlog presents Fangoria Issue 1. And Starlog was like a sci-fi magazine. It covered a lot more sci-fi stuff, so you can tell that they wanted to do this to bring all the horror stuff into one place. Like I said, this originally came out in 1979 in August, and on the front we've got my fucking guy, Godzilla. Check that. Eating the train. I love that image. So it's an instant draw for me because it's got a 25-year anniversary article on Godzilla, but it's also got stuff that really started to create Fangoria into what it is today. Straight away, it's made from that proper old school paper, black and white printed, most of it on that That old musty smelling paper. So the first article in this magazine is a funny one. It's an article covering Doctor Who, which you would never really get in a Fangoria magazine after this, but at the time you can tell that they were just trying to fill it up with stuff and just try and find their feet with what they wanted the magazine to be. So you'd never get Doctor Who in a Fangoria magazine normally, unless they were like some really fucked up makeup or something like that, but that would all be kept for Starlog, that kind of thing. So you can tell at the time, they're just trying to find their feet and they need to fill it with stuff, so that's probably why they included some Doctor Who. But I love these old Doctor Who alien makeups, man. The Tom Baker fucking Doctor Who, the Sylvester McCoy, the old ones, they're sick. And it's articles like this that really make Fangoria what it became. Check that. Tom Savini, new master of magical makeups. So he was still really new at the time. Imagine that. This is when he was doing Dawn of the Dead, talking about all the Dawn of the Dead effects. And he talks about how George Romero always let him have free reign of effects and come up with his own ideas and never cared if it was too gory or too much blood or too splattery or anything like that. He loved it and let him do his thing. There's also an article with Christopher Lee talking about all his old horror roles. He does actually say in this that he's wanting to move away from horror, which he never really did he, Christopher Lee? But either way, two big hitters straight away. Tom Savini, which was new school at the time, Christopher Lee, which was old school, setting the bar, both levels, fucking awesome. Then we've got the Godzilla article, and at the time, I reckon that this would have been something as well that would be in Starlog, because Godzilla's not horror. It's men in fucking monster kaiju suits and effects and stuff like that, but it's a lot more sci-fi themed. They wouldn't have really featured that in a Fangoria after this, not really. Not really, a little bit, but that's more Starlog and stuff like that. But this is a fucking dope article, and I always love this. This is from one of my favourite Godzillas of all time, Godzilla vs. Megalon. If you watch my Godzilla Criterion Blu-ray box set review, you'll know how much I love this movie. But what's always funny about this poster is these two are fighting on the Twin Towers. That never happened in a movie. They never even go to New York in that movie. But check that. That's just like misleading as fuck. And also, Godzilla and Megalon are way fucking bigger than the two towers. They're way bigger than the two towers, so they would have that would have never worked. The poster inside, and I'm so torn to take this out because it's got a Luigi Cozzi Godzilla poster on the inlay like that's never been taken out. I'm not going to take it out, but I'm so fucking tempted because obviously Luigi Cozzi, I met that guy, he's fucking awesome. I love the original Godzilla. He did his own Cozzi cut and that's the colour version of Godzilla that's inside there on a poster. So tempting to take it out, but I won't ruin it. And then we've got, I always say my guy, but there's some people that are my guys. Toxic Avenger, Godzilla, and fucking Jet Jaguar. He is my ultimate guy, and he's there, and he's fucking awesome. There's a wicked advert in here for a company called Monster Madness. Become a professional makeup artist. Check this. The horror TV, horror makeup kit. That's like a proper holy grail item for me to ever find that. And these things, we've got space creatures, full head mask set. Look how cool these aliens are. Check him with the bog eyes. And then we've got like some Darth Vader knockoff, but that's fucking so sick, man. King of the Gorillas moving makeup with exclusive lifelike flex flesh. Try saying that 20 times. Live your fantasy, it's fun. Starlog makeup kits. So fucking awesome, man. You could just order this shit back in the day for 8 quid, 8 quid, 14 quid. Well, it's in dollars, but I just said quid. But you're not paying any more than $20 for this shit with 150 postage. Imagine. Fuck, I was born in the wrong era, man. There's also a section on Alex Gordon looking at all his B movies, which were again very much like Atomic Age, black and white sci-fi monster movies and alien invasion movies and stuff like that. But fucking awesome, dope effects, and I'm not hating at all that they're in this magazine because I love that shit. We've got stuff that covers all the aliens from Battlestar Galactica. Again, stuff that would normally be in Starlog, but I'm not hating because these aliens are fucking awesome. There's an article here covering the original Alien movie by Ridley Scott when it was like really unknown, and these are such fucking dope images. Like if you were looking at this for the first time and didn't know what that movie were, you'd be like, yo, what the fuck, man, I need to see this shit. So there's lots of cool stuff inside this, but what I really like, one of my favourite things, is the original intro. And basically, without reading it all, it explains that as you get older, you don't need to throw away your love for movies. You can still watch a movie, and if you watch Superman and it makes you want to fly, then fucking good for you, brother, because a movie should never make you feel anything other than that. It says as you get older, the dreams that you might have had as a kid usually get replaced by frustration and cynicism, and that it doesn't have to, and that watching movies and TV is a way to still hold on to that love and still feel those feelings that you felt when you was a kid watching movies. He's fucking dope, man. You'd have to read it, but he's fucking sick. Overall, it's just a real nice piece, and although it's like a real poor representation of what Fangoria would go on to become, it's really good to show this set the groundwork for what became the most decorated horror magazine ever. So in 2015, Fangoria got cancelled, but then it got picked up again in 2018, and now it's going stronger than ever. And me being the guest liaison manager of HorrorCon, I get to see just how fucking huge the horror scene is now, and I love to know that something that started really weird and cool and niche now is such a fucking big movement, and it just seems like it's getting bigger and better every single year. Now, I'm lucky enough to own an original Fangoria because my mate Ryan gave me it, and he gave me a load of other early issues as well. And up until recently, the only way to get this or read it would have been to go on eBay, track one down, or go to a comic fair and find one and pay a price for it, that kind of thing. But what's awesome now is Fangoria has made their back issues available digitally. So you can go over to their website and sign up for a 2-month free trial, getting access to the first 16 issues of Fangoria. And I think it's only like $2 after that. So even if you want to stay with it, it's a minor. You can cancel at any time. I've just signed up. It's fucking awesome. I mean, if you're like here in England and you're on lockdown, there's never been a better time to kick back and read some old school Fangoria. I really hope you've enjoyed this little review episode of Fangoria and the other magazines that came out around that time. I know you're probably used to seeing me review toys on this channel, but I'm into lots of cool shit. I love all that culture from 70s through to 80s and 90s. I love it all, not just toys. I love movies and comics and all that shit. So it's nice to review things that's a little bit different. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment, let me know what your favourite horror movie is, let me know if you've ever read a Fangoria magazine or what your favourite issue is. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. My name's Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'll catch you in the next episode, but for now, I'm gone. Pow. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, and if you want to help make Slimehouse bigger and better than ever, then you can also consider being an absolute legend and subscribing to our Patreon. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Slimehouse TV.